Guys, Otterpop here, time to fulfill another patron request. I believe that this one was from March, and I was only taking, like maybe one request that month, since, I was still doing some moving that month. But I will be actually finishing out in a short animated series that I initially started. It's called Vampair. I don't know if anybody else watched it or remembers it. I watched the first 3 videos, and basically it's a fan animation of different kinds of, like, music videos. Basically it's like their own little project, but they're like stringing together this little story. If you want to go ahead and check out the reaction of the first 3 parts, go ahead and just look no further than link down in the description below. But there are some more parts that I need to watch, that I need to finish out. One of them is 3.5, part 3.5, which I think it's an official part. I'm not entirely sure, but there's also 4, 5, 6, and 7. No, something like that. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to watch the rest of these. They're relatively short because, they're fan animated music videos, basically. I've gotten a little bit better about watching and reacting and analyzing music-related videos, especially if there's some kind of animation behind it, and especially since there's a bit of a story to this one. And I do vaguely remember some of, like, the animating techniques from the first 3 parts, and the music that was used was actually really interesting. I have no idea what the story is going to be, what music is going to be used, what's going to happen exactly, but I'm going to try and actually, do a little bit more analysis on it as opposed to just, watching and reacting to it. Let's go.
You bitch, you hurt me.
Well, damn.
And now I can never forgive you.
Boy.
You bitch. You bitch.
Oh my god.
You hurt me.
Huh. I thought it sounded... Okay. So I thought it did sound a little bit like Voltaire, which was the artist from the first and the second videos, I want to say. So I thought it sounded like Voltaire. I didn't really know Voltaire beforehand. I thought he sounded familiar, but turns out he absolutely did not. But yeah, it's Voltaire and Ah Oui. Oh, is that what the song is called? Ah Oui by Voltaire. Oh. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. That's short and sweet message. Bitch, you hurt me. Yeah, that was pretty good. And I like how even in this short segment, the animation is still very smooth, especially when it comes to him. I didn't see enough of her movement to, like, be able to say the same thing, but, when he was, like, doing those steps to the beat and, kind of twirling around, like, the animation just kind of flowed very nicely. And I do like seeing this darker palette as he's outside, basically his old castle. And, there's the nice glow of light from the windows. I kind of like that. Yeah, nice, short, and sweet. So I guess not too much else to say about that. So let's go ahead and move on to episode 4, The Silent. Interesting. Liking this guitar.
God, it's so quiet here. Silence is slipping into my head. When monsters are loud, they're really quite delightful. It's a silent dance I get you, so please do watch out.
So the first thing I automatically notice about this is the music. I have no idea what song this is, but it is very difficult to tell what she's saying. And I know that, the singer's voice is dropping down a little bit, but it makes it harder to enunciate some words, so it's kind of hard to tell if the lyrics are kind of in tune with the character, with the story, or with the general flow of things, I guess you could say. Interestingly enough, I found his segments where he's singing to be a little bit more interesting. I feel like he just has this more charismatic personality as opposed to her. That's just my general take on it at the moment. I'm not saying that it's bad necessarily, but I'm definitely more drawn into his segments where, he's singing. I'm not sure if it's because of Voltaire, like, Voltaire songs specifically, or if it's, I don't know, just the sort of energy he puts off whenever he's the one singing, whenever he's the sort of star of the show. I'll hold off reservations until I listen to a little more.
It's a silent music that you so please do watch out. We had a monster ball, they all came out to play. They were dressed to the nines in their scary monster ways. We had gusset and liver skin and baby legs and rolled around merrily and spilled our face. God, it was so fun. At the end of the night, we bowed and said goodbye, and they spilled into the night, slithering and creepy. I closed my doors and hid the lights inside into the frightful night. The chandeliers were freaky. Ooh, my little toms were pink. Oh God, what's that? Could it be my little black cat? Could it be my shadow playing tricks? Could it be my blighted candlesticks? It's time my body goes to bed. Food to 10 to 5 year end. The night resumed its deadly games into the realm of the insane. I lift my covers up and I close my little eyes and I listen to the night with its silent screams and cries. I went to sleep and woke to find I was being eaten, which wouldn't be so bad. Except I never gave permission.
This took a shit turn.
The silent little demons in their quiet little ways. It's the silent ones that kill you, it's the little ones that rave. The big ones will hound you, the loud ones will pound you, but the germs get in you and eat you inside out.
It's got a nice beat.
They'll eat you inside out, inside out. Somatics will eat you inside out. Which would be somatics if they don't have supervision? They just get inside you and set upon their mission. Or better than that, they'll get into your veins and seep into your blood. Treatment cuts out the vein. Or better than that, they'll make you go insane if they're lit up on your side.
Whoa.
Into your brain. Or better than that,
Oh, this is a new animation style. Oh, whoa, that was unexpected. Before I switch up to the next part, that was a very interesting segment that we really got to see a lot more of, in a way, her vampire personality, at least, as a result of her holding on to this staff. I did not expect that reversion, by the way. Or that reverting, by the way. That was a little bit unexpected. That alone confirms an initial suspicion that I had, is that the guy, the girl, there's really no better way to put it, but the guy was originally a vampire. Either that's how he was born, that's how he was created, or something like that. She only became a sort of vampire because of being possessed by the staff. So she's still a human through and through, but she didn't permanently become a vampire. It's also interesting because I was gonna say it too when her segment started playing a little bit more. Their personalities are so vastly different in their sort of monstrous states. He definitely has a lot more class and charisma, and he's a little bit more flamboyant, but he's very, like, how do I put this? He's almost in a way elegant and meaningful in the way that he sings and he moves and he reasons and desires and things like that. She is a completely different story, however, because she basically lets the power go to her head and she lets her emotions, whether like in her vampiric state, sort of dictate a lot of her actions. She's a lot more impulsive. She's more reactive, and she has a more childish nature, more like a childish, carefree nature almost in her vampiric state, which seems well, I mean, actually, now that I think about it, based on what little bit that we saw when she was human in the very first part, was that she was a little bit childish and naive, but she also looked to be some kind of, teenager adult, so at least she had a little bit of sense, and she was clever enough to trick the dude to burning in the sunlight. So she is clever in her own way, but I don't know, maybe this is a fault of her being young and inexperienced and still not knowing some things about the world, or maybe this is more of a statement about her being human. I don't know, maybe it's a fallacy with humans. It's kind of hard to say exactly for sure, because, artistic representations like animations can really only convey so much. They can convey a lot, for sure, but only so much. And that little that little animation transition to the black and white was holy moly. And speaking of black and white, I find it fascinating how basically the entirety of the castle was just basically black and white, and she was the only individual with color, even when other monsters were being brought into the mix. I think that says a lot about her personality. I think that could be a good indication that she was trying to steal the spotlight and, you know, become the sort of star of the show. It kind of makes sense. She literally brought the dude back in part 3 just so that she could just be like, fuck you, get out. That's the only reason she even brought him back to life. It was unbelievably petty and childish. And this little segment of her singing and like descending into madness just showcases that. I'm also a little surprised that she even tossed away that staff to begin with. And again, I was not expecting the reverting back to her human form. And suddenly, now that she is human again, suddenly the castle and the walls have, like, you know, more color, more definition to them, more shading, more light. It's really interesting. I feel like there's a lot that this says about her personality in this vampiric state. Am I reading too much into this? I don't necessarily think so. I think some of this could have been the intention. It's a fan animation. There are plenty of people that do these kinds of fan animations, and they put a lot of effort into it. And they put little details and specific movements or lights or colors or, you know, many creative decisions with purpose. That's how that works. Yeah, she seems horrified, but now you have like these operatic voices. They're saying hallelujah.
Inside out, inside out, which would it be somatic to eat you inside out? No, it wouldn't be somatic to eat you inside out, inside out, inside out, and eat you inside out, which means inside out,
Never mind.
inside out, inside out.
Okay. Was silent by tragic tantrum. Never heard of them. Okay. That was supremely interesting. I thought she might stay reverted, although that wouldn't necessarily have created quite as interesting of a story, especially if there are 2, 3 more parts to this. But as soon as she looked at him, she was like, no, fuck this. I want this descend into madness. Maybe it does showcase either the childish naivety of being young or the petty impulsive fallacy of humans, or both in some way. Or it's just telling a story, but I mean, come on. He did technically kidnap her and was about to do some, you know, unspeakable things to her, romantically speaking. Maybe a little bit more than that, but if I knew that I was going to basically become a complete nutbag, like she clearly did, I wouldn't have done that. To be fair, I'm not very emotional. I'm definitely a lot more logical. And again, I have no idea how old she is in this human form, at least. Yeah, she is petty and impulsive as hell. So naive too. And what's the word that I'm looking for? Definitely holds a grudge. But there's a specific word for something related to that. Vengeful, maybe? I don't know. That's not quite the right word, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Okay then. So, never mind, her humanness lasted a very short period of time. She's now a vampire again, and he's got a trick up his sleeve, and she might have a trick up her sleeve as well, if she was grinning at the very end. Okay, so, episode 5 now? Zombie Prost. Is this another Voltaire?
I was alone and I needed a date. I was taking a walk past the cemetery gate when I saw a sign. It said for a good time. Take a left down at Tombstone number 8. Went through the gateway and I'm pretty sure I saw some eyes peeking out of a sepulture. I took a step into the tomb of a repute. That's where I met her, the zombie prostitute.
Huh. Okay then. Okay, so automatically the first thing I know, I'm pretty sure that this is another Voltaire song. So, and it's interesting that that his segments keep getting Voltaire music to back it up, whereas for her, they seem to be different every time. That's interesting. But I also notice a very stark difference in the animation between this and the rest of the previous parts. It seems a bit more... I don't even know how I would describe... I'm not that good at describing animation necessarily. I'm not super knowledgeable. I know a thing or two, but not super duper knowledgeable. I guess the animation seems a lot more simplistic or choppy, might be the best way to put it. It doesn't look quite as smooth, and his design seems a little bit different too. It almost seems a little bit less elegant as classy, or at least I guess maybe his appearance is kind of similar to what I said about the animation. It's a little bit more simplistic in nature. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I have enjoyed the smooth touches in the animation, unless this is meant to be a little bit more of like, you know, a haha funny moment entry instead of, you know, focusing a little bit more on the story, which, if that's possible, if that's what the intention be, then I suppose the animation and the design alterations do make a little bit more sense. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is another Voltaire entry, and Zombie Prostitute. Oh, is that really the words in the song? Is that really the name of the song? Okay.
I grabbed her left breast and I'm pretty sure I tore it. I sicked her down, but she didn't have the stomach for it. Her teeth fell out and her tongue fell out to food. But all in all, she was a rotten kind of cute. Well, I was tense, it was plain to see. A sort of rigor mortis was coming over me. I didn't want to see it, but I just had to believe it. I had a stiffy for the stiff in front of me.
But then...
Morally, I'm destitute in the tomb of a repute. She's a rotten kind of cute for a zombie prostitute.
Wow, I mean, he's providing vivid enough descriptions to make it easier to animate. I'm sure it's the case that, wow, interesting. Okay, so this is definitely a stylistic animation change.
You know now I'm a zombie gigolo. I took my first client on a date. We took a walk to the cemetery gate. I got a little slip, but then I heard a rip. I pulled it out and I said, baby, keep the tip.
Okay.
Morally, I'm destitute in the tomb of a repute. She's a rotten kind of cute for a zombie prostitute.
It was Voltaire. Right. Yeah, that definitely seemed a little bit more side entry, as opposed to actually being part of the main story. I mean, the rest of them kind of made sense. I mean, it actually kind of reminds me a little bit, I think the second one technically was a little bit of a side story as well. But, you know, the animations in that were still very nice and very smooth. But yeah, the animation here and his design was a little bit more simplistic. I didn't care for that one quite as much, but you know, I do respect the effort that was put into that. I can't animate, okay? I can barely even string together the concept of making something like an animatic. I can't imagine, you know, animating any of this stuff. Ooh, he's looking spiffy. It's always a different musical artist for her. He's looking spiffy. Oh, damn. Whoa. Okay. There is a lot of movement in this, so the animation has definitely returned to what it was for the previous installments. The individual who sings this song, she has quite a voice. Wow. That's a pretty nice voice, and it continues the trend of his segments always including Voltaire songs, but her segments including songs by different female artists, which is interesting. That could kind of relate a little bit to their personalities, where, you know, he's clearly been a vampire for a long time, and he's kind of largely the same. He's kind of refined his personality in a sense. She's still not really. She only recently became a vampire. Her personality is definitely changing and undergoing some changes across each installment. I like how the general tone of the song has this sort of sassy nature to it, which is kind of what she's exuding based on her movements, based on her facial expressions and whatnot. I also find it interesting that their movements, as they're dancing, are almost identical. They're practically mirroring each other when, you know, they're not performing the roles that men and women will often do in dancing when they do it together. But like when they're separate and they have the ability to sort of like dance together still, they're doing it in unison and they're mirroring one another. That's really interesting. I mean, I'm sure that was, you know, just more aesthetically pleasing. It's probably why it was done, but you never know, there could be some kind of lower reason behind it. And naturally, he's still trying to get the staff away from her. And he's trying to do it in very subtle ways. But at least now, when he's not getting it, he's not like, oh, fucking hell. He's just like, okay, gotta try again somehow. But then they separated, and they're both like, you know, at the bar or, you know, getting drinks or something like that. And he's not actively trying to take the staff from her. He's definitely got some kind of trick up his sleeve. And she's like, you know, oh damn, I've been dancing a lot. I wonder if she's like, he's not too bad. I don't know for sure. Likely not, but it's interesting for sure. Ooh. Oh. Oh, he smacked the shit out of her. Oh, there's some fighting action going on here. Okay, now he's getting mad. Now that she keeps thwarting him. Damn. They both definitely way injured each other. Brother Swing by Caravan Palace. Never heard of them either. Okay. Wow. That took a sharp turn. I mean, I can't say I'm terribly surprised, but damn, that took a sharp turn. I don't know if I can say anything else about this particular part. I feel like I've said all I need to, and I can, if I need anything to add, it's only from watching the last part. I've got to find out what happens. It doesn't say like it's a 7th installment, but it does say season finale, so I'm assuming that this is this is an official part. It's part 7, so stuck with you. Okay, I think this is the longest one so far. One of the longest for sure. Find out. I wasn't expecting these colors. Okay, that makes more sense.
You're a slob, it's such a bore. Your underwear strewn on the floor. And you're a pack rat, most extreme. A house is full of magazines.
Is that Vampair again?
Toilet's broke, and yet I bet His Majesty ain't fixed it yet. You want to talk, sleepyhead, and get your fat ass out of bed. Over in the eyes of God, we said our vows before the pews. Not until death may we part. So until then, I'm stuck with you.
What kind of relationship are they having in this? Are they like just sharing the castle or something?
I swore that you'd be true to me, but gave me infidelity. Why should I give a Duke's cuss? She was your sister, what's the fuss? Well then let's propose a truce. What's good for gander is good for goose. Hey now that's different, you took to bed my favorite dog and all my friends. Over in the eyes of God, we said our vows before the pews. Not until death may we part. So until then I'm stuck.
Are they married?
Over in the eyes of God, we said our vows before the pews. Not until death may we part. This is my curse, I said I'd do better or worse, I'm stuck with you.
Wait, are they married then?
You poked my eye, I wear a patch. I should have given you one to match. Did you forget? You got me back. You chopped my thumb off with an axe. You drowned my kittens one by one.
Oh.
You looked like you were having fun.
Wait. The animator who did this had already chosen this song before, or at least before or around the time that she was animating the previous one. Because he did get her with an axe and apparently caused her to lose her eye. Or you know, stuck her in the eye, and she was the one who used the axe to chop his thumb off. Oh, that's interesting. What is also interesting is the fact that these two are apparently married for some reason. What kind of relationship is this? If they are, that's toxic as hell. Why? I don't understand the why. I'm sure that the animator has a reason, like whether for storytelling purposes or, you know, I don't know, but why? It's hard to tell if they do carry some kind of either feelings or guilt towards one another. I don't know for sure, but clearly there's some kind of relationship going on. He's not trying to take the staff anymore. He's not even trying to do it subtly. He's just not trying. It's like he's given up and is content to do, okay, let's share this castle then or something, or maybe he's I don't know. This took a complete 180 from all of the previous instances. Like, the first part aside, actually I think the second part aside as well, based on parts 3, 3.5, 4, 5, and 6, I would not have expected it to take this kind of turn. Also, I know for a fact that that is Voltaire. I actually am now wondering, because all of his songs, he's only been singing Voltaire songs, and she's continuously singing other female parts. I wonder if the animator chose all of these songs before even starting to animate the first episode. I don't know how that timeline works, but I mean, I know these animations probably take months to do. And something I like, a little bit of a gripe, but for some reason, the female voice that's singing alongside Voltaire, I mean, I do kind of like her voice, but I don't know how well exactly it meshes with Voltaire's. Like, I feel like in some cases it kind of does, but in other cases it doesn't. It's a weird personal gripe, and I can't really better explain it. Okay.
You count like kittens one by one. You looked like you were having fun. You stabbed my mother in the chest with a Korean bayonet. Oh, but in the eyes of God, you said our vows before the fuse. Not until death may we part. This is my curse. I said I'd do. Lest you die first, I'm stuck with you.
Jeez, this is toxic as hell. Oh man!
And now I lay here in my grave. I pray to God my soul to save. And in the darkness of the tomb, I'm glad I'm lying next to you.
And as I lay here 6 feet down, my body buried underground, in this dank and dreary cold, I'm just glad I'm not alone. All the eyes are gone. They said our vows before the fuse. Not until death may we part. So until then I'm stuck with you. Over the eyes are gone. They said our vows before the fuse. Not until death may we part.
I'm not sad, I said I do.
I'm just glad I was stuck with you.
Surprising. There's season 2? Stuck with You, Voltaire with Amanda Palmer. Is there more? Hang on. I'm hearing... What? Huh. Those two definitely have some kind of toxic relationship going on. There is no reason for there to be that much violence and all of a sudden to be like, you're the only one who understands my pain and my anger and my sorrows. Therefore, we're just stuck with each other. And we're okay with it. That was very anticlimactic. I'm not sure how I feel about that final part. Like, I feel like the rest leading up to that was, you know, kind of, you know, fun and interesting, especially with the different song choices, the animation styles, the general story. But then it ended on that. If it had been a standalone thing, I may not have questioned it as much. Or if the story were a little bit different, I still may have questioned it a little, but there was all that lead up with parts 1 through 6, and then it ends on that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Again, I could be reading too much into this, but I don't know, like, something about that seems a little bit too extreme, I guess, in a way. I know they're vampires and, you know, they're fictional creatures and stuff, but still, it's a little surprising. I didn't expect it to take that kind of turn. Yeah, I think overall it ended in a twist that was a little bit unexpected. I mean, I suppose maybe in a way, given the characters, it makes a slight bit of sense, because the girl this entire time has just been angry, vengeful, and, you know, I didn't pick up on it before, but I was kind of thinking about it as I was reminiscing about some previous episodes, but maybe she was a bit lonely too. And maybe he was as well. And that's probably why he made the moves on her in the very first part. But, you know, they just needed somebody else. But I don't know, like it just feels a little bit too complex and toxic right at the end there. I mean, seriously, they just go from, you know, using flames on one another and, you know, slapping the shit out of each other to, oh, but it's okay. We're still together here in our coffins underground, just, you know, stuck together. I don't know. That just feels very anticlimactic to me. And I'm a writer. Like, granted, I'm not published yet, but I have been doing a lot of training when it comes to storytelling and descriptions and plots and characters. It just doesn't feel quite right to me. Ow, I just kind of bumped my hand a little bit. But yeah, it feels just very anticlimactic, and I'm not really sure how much I enjoyed that ending. So, I don't know. But apparently there's a season 2, so I don't know, maybe that's something to look forward to. I have no idea if it's going to continue with these two characters, if there's going to be some kind of prequel-ish thing involved, if it's going to be its own separate story. I don't necessarily know, but I guess that's Vampair. I think it had me hooked right up until that end. that was actually pretty good, and I hope I was able to, you know, provide a little bit more insight in terms of the story, the animation, the visuals, stuff like that. This is the kind of stuff that I like to discuss and think about, especially when there's a story element involved. That makes me very happy, so I think that's all I have to say for today, so thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as usual, until the next video, guys, check you later. Oh wait, I totally forgot to mention, Patrons, thank you much, patrons. I'm sorry I didn't shout you out at the beginning of this. Normally I do, but slipped my mind. Anyways, as usual, until the next video, guys, check you later.